And we are back with a Fox News alert. Former President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has metastasized to the bone. Dr. Mark Siegel told us at the top of the hour that this would be considered to be stage 4 cancer. The Biden family is reviewing treatment options with his physicians, and they are hopeful the cancer will allow for effective management. Joining us now on the phone is senior White House correspondent Jacqui Heinrich. Jacqui, you have covered the Biden administration. You know him well. We want to ask you about this situation and about your reaction to this news, first of all.
Well, I actually learned about it from former staffers who had reached out to me with, talking about the news. They're all shocked by it. And the sort of reaction across the board that I'm hearing from them is, geez, this guy can't catch a break. He's had a really tough news cycle with the book that just came out talking about his age. He had a physical in February of 2024, and the doctor said that he was fit to serve as president, fit to seek re-election. There was no mention of his prostate there. So this must have taken hold pretty quickly unless there is some other testing that wasn't, revealed to the public and that someone with a degree I don't have could read from that report. But we've seen him in public recently. I mean, he was just in Rome for the Pope's funeral at the end of April. He was on The View the first week of May with Joe Biden was there. And this is a family that's obviously been through a lot with cancer. The death of his son, Beau, was a huge factor for him. It really shaped his life. And dealing with a diagnosis like this has been, a really big piece of the Biden family. They launched a Cancer Moonshot initiative in Beau's name to try to bring, an end to this. And it's also interesting to me that he made the announcement publicly that they put this word out there because you'll recall the former Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, had prostate cancer, did not reveal it publicly, hid it from the government, hid it from the president, and, expressed a regret over that you can help other men, early diagnose by speaking about this disease. And I think the president, taking this information public as quickly as he did is notable there as well.
Hey, Jacqui, it's Joe Concha. In terms of cancer, I'm very familiar with this. I lost my mother to cancer 13 years ago. My dad had stage 3 colon cancer. I saw the chemotherapy and everything that he had to go through in terms of the weight loss. And fortunately, he survived and has a much better social life than I have right now. That's certainly for sure. In this case, this is stage 4, and there is no stage 5 as far as Joe Biden's concerned. You brought up the book before as far as Jake Tapper, Alex Thompson of Axios, Jake Tapper of CNN. They're going to go on a major book tour this week, which is comprised of, I just got off a book tour, dozens of interviews about this. I just wonder now if that's something that, in terms of the questions about Joe Biden's cognitive decline, which was very clear to all of us for many years, if that's something now that, do you see Tapper, Thompson, the people that are doing this book, stepping back a bit and showing some respect for the former president in terms of not going as heavy as they may have, considering what the president is going through right now, the former president, Joe Biden?
I think it's certainly a conversation that they're probably having with their publicist. I mean, how do you go at a guy who's, ostensibly dying of cancer?
Yeah.
He's 82. A PR person, I think, would have an opinion on that. It's not really my lane. Of course, we'll see what happens. But, he is 82 years old. And I think that how he deals with this, I mean, you can have the doctors on the show to, talk about what cancer treatment means at 82 and how the family deals with that at 82. I think that Joe Biden's a family man, and he's going to want to spend whatever time he has left with the people that he loves close to him. So I would imagine that part of the treatment is going to be figuring out how to do that close to home. We understand that he's been spending most of his time in Delaware. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hunter Biden spend more time at home, Ashley as well, because this is obviously, it wrecks the family to have to deal with something this challenging and this difficult. But, Joe Biden has dealt with a lot of grief and turmoil in his life, and he has always been proud of the attitude of sort of perseverance that he brought to those challenges. I can't imagine that this would be any different. And speaking of the book, he was rumored to be planning a counter to that book, and you would imagine that would come with some sort of a book tour. I mean, he was running for re-election. He was not, in his mind, going to let his age get him down. Obviously, though, he was dealing with some symptoms, and now it's anyone's, guess how he's coping with them. But we hope that his treatment makes him comfortable and brings, as much of a help to the family as they deal with this terrible diagnosis as they possibly can.
Jacqui, Lisa Booth here. I want to stay on the book for a moment. You have followed the former president and his team very closely. Have any of the revelations that have surfaced surprised you?
No, plainly no. I think that one thing that's missed here, and I say this in my conversations privately with people, and they're like, how is it that, you guys covered the White House? And I think that one thing that's missed here is that this was a coalition presidency in so many ways by design. I mean, every decision really came from a group of people that huddled together and determined what the policy was going to be, because they were trying often to please the whole party. And, when you try to check too many boxes, you can sometimes lose sight of, the purpose and put out statements that don't really connect with people. That happened time and time again. You compare it to the Trump administration, where the president is leading the party and the party is not leading the president. So I think that was sort of the formula from the beginning, and allowed a lot of this to continue on as he aged, in the background, because it was not just Joe Biden, making decisions at the end of the day. That was not how they operated. And I think that it came down also to the influence of different heavyweight Democrats on him. I mean, you saw the influence that Obama still had, and Pelosi and Jeffries and Schumer. There are so many figures, I think, that, and Clyburn. I mean, there are factions and figures that shaped policies for that administration, and I think that that's a big reason why, this continued to go, unscrutinized for a long time, because they weren't looking to the president to be the final decision maker on a lot of things.
Jacqui, hey, Jason Chaffitz. Look, nobody wants to see anybody fighting and dealing with cancer. I think the sympathy, if we went around the room, you could pick any room in America, you're going to know somebody who has had cancer, suffered from cancer, dealing with cancer. It truly is one of those devastating diseases. But Joe Biden is actually, as much as I disagree with him on a lot of things and have serious questions, today's not the day for that. Somebody wants to criticize him, that's fair. He put himself out in the public arena. But I think everybody's expecting the fight in Joe Biden to prevail. And I was actually pretty pleased to hear and see the survival rate for something like this. Even though it's stage 4, even though it's gotten to the bone, I tend to think that the Biden's got a whole lot of fight in him. I don't think you become the president of the United States unless you have a lot of fight in you. So I'm optimistic that they can overcome this. It'll be another hard chapter. But you've seen the family up close. They tend to rally together, don't they?
They absolutely do. And, Joe Biden will be the first to admit that he doesn't like to, get knocked down. And he's stubborn. He will, in the face of a challenge, want to beat that challenge. So I can't imagine him throwing in the towel for something like this. And they have got a very, very tight-knit family. I'm sure that they are all huddled around him and supporting him. And he's also very close with his staff. I mean, you see their outpourings of support. A lot of the people who worked with him for many, many years, stayed with him from when he was in the Senate, and then in his under President Obama as vice president. There are people who have a long history with Joe Biden, and I'm sure that they're going to be offering all the support that they can. I also think that he is a person who has dedicated so much of his life to supporting research for cancer because of Beau. And you already saw the American Cancer Society come out with a statement of their own, giving their condolences. I'm sure that he's going to get a lot of hands raised from all sorts of different corners on how can they avail themselves to help him in this fight. everybody hopes that you get a good outcome to something like this, and that the challenge of it isn't, everything that it could be. It's devastating, I'm sure, to see the word cancer. Nobody wants to read that. No family wants to deal with that, and it's scary. It's very scary. And you're right, this is not the day to talk about the challenges of that administration. And I think, that might be something that Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson are going to be grappling with as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And I just want to note it was nice to see President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump put out a lovely statement wishing Joe Biden well and a fast and speedy recovery. So I think that helps to really bring America together at a time like this. Jacqui Heinrich, thank you so much for all your insight there. We certainly appreciate your time today.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate being with you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.